Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having an amazing day. We're going to take a quick look here at Bitcoin, kind of see what's going on, of course, help understand, generally speaking, where we're going to go. And now keep in mind, this is the weekend, things are a little slower, so volatility is a little funky, so sometimes it's best not to trade too much on the weekends. Even though you definitely can, there's still plenty of options. It's still kind of stagnant, for lack of better terms. Speaking of stagnant too, I mean, Bitcoin, ever since March 17th, we've pretty much been stuck in this range here between 26, just say low 26,000, upwards of about 31,000. Okay, so again, that $4,000 range, fairly well range bound. It's been a while since Bitcoin's been stuck in a range like this, so it would make sense for us to see some kind of breakout here in the relative near future. Just something to think about. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick look, of course, at a few things. We'll jump into some high block capital data. And just before we get started, I do want to recommend that you consider becoming a community member. We have a lot of cool new members here and just awesome features. Bringing day trades to the community here. That should happen within the next week. Our web guys are just getting that all figured out for us. We have some really exclusive benefit rewards here through BINGX. Of course, Canada, Europe, US, Oceania, UK, the whole 9 yards. All those restricted countries for BITGET are coming over to our BINGX to effectively join our trading. What is it? We have it's copy trading as well as some signals we're going to be sending through there. But you just get a $100 bonus and no trading volume or deposit required. So be sure to check that out. Awesome stuff. So what we want to do here with Bitcoin is kind of identify, well, a few things. So let's go ahead and see what's going on here on the back end. First of all, liquidations are fairly low. We've got a lot more, obviously, long liquidations here recently. So generally speaking, we're seeing a lot of shorts taking some healthy profits, right? We can see whale versus retail. Obviously, they're outperforming as per usual. There's a correlation between the price being lower and the whales being more active, and then the inverse. Okay, so keep in mind, whales are going to control that for the moment. We can see that there's a lot more longs being open the last 3 or 4 days than being closed. Okay, it's a good sign. Basically implies there's a lot of folks are feeling that the bottom is in. I'm one of those folks personally. I don't think that necessarily is at the true bottom, but I think the tentative bottom for the moment is definitely the case, right? So we could very well see the price action stay where it's at and essentially go up from here. We're seeing a lot more short positions closing in the last 3 or 4 days. Okay, now that could be because of the fact that they're taking profits, but also the fact that they feel less secure in taking a short position to the upside, because it feels like Bitcoin does want to recover and come up. Okay, so let's take a quick look at the longs and kind of see where we're at. We can see the longs here. We got a lot of late longs here at about the 27.1 mark, roughly 27.17, and we can also see some shorts here. I feel like the shorts we got some late shorts here as well. They're all pretty much hedged at the same level. That's a common characteristic. So we're kind of at this point of contention, like, is it going to go up or is it going to go down? We kind of got to figure that out. What we want to look at is a few things here. First of all, just to jump into the monthly, we can kind of see that our current monthly close was higher than our previous monthly open, or previous monthly low, rather. And that's a good sign, too. That kind of helps us understand that we got some support in this about 26,800 range. We also can see that we're still trending above 50 on the RSI. While it's not super strong, a little bit of money is flowing back into the market, and we could see the price continue higher. Again, we need to have more volume to be able to see the price increase, right? We can also see this convergence here as well. It's a little easier to see on the larger time frames or different trading pair. But basically, when we're looking at here, we can see the price action continuing higher. We see this convergence on the horizon, but if you can see just how violent the uptrend versus the downtrend is, these are some super significant pushes, and they're lasting for a while. So while it doesn't necessarily mean we're just going to converge and it's going to be all well and good bullish city from here on out, it does imply that this push to the downside, this momentous downtrend, is likely to an end. Okay, so again, some positive stuff there in that sense. Another thing to recognize too as well is the simple moving averages. We're trending above the 50-day SMA, but below the 20. So commonly, when the price stays above the 50, we see the price continue upwards. This is kind of uncharted territory. We haven't been below the 50-day SMA in quite a while. It's been years, right? If I recall correctly, there was a case in point. No, actually, that's not enough data. In truth, that is essentially the only time in which we've seen this. So this is kind of uncharted territory for us to be under that level, but to be back up above is important. Likely we're going to bounce and continue higher because of that. Okay, so it's more positive than negative is what I'm trying to get at here. Okay, same thing with the weekly too. We can see the weekly we're above the 200-day SMA. That's the main focus here, and that we're still above 50 on the RSI. The one thing to keep in mind, though, is the weekly is giving us a fairly ominous MACD divergence potential. Not to say it's going to happen, but it could very well bounce. However, it continues lower, we could very well see the price downtrend back to that 25 or lower mark, that 25K or lower. Okay. again, just some macro stuff to kind of think about. So I want to kind of take a look here at the daily. What we want to recognize is a few things. First of all, we can see with the MACD, right, it's kind of still converging. So we're not losing that momentum to the upside, which is good. So the daily does look still fairly strong in that regard. We are kind of seeing the price get rejected off of 50 on the RSI. This is going to be a place we want to watch and kind of pay attention to, because that is a level that, to me, is always very important. So being back up above that will be helpful. While it's not the absolute solution, we can see that working as a resistance level. Okay, so that resistance level on the RSI is fairly concurrent with this 0.5 Fibonacci retracement level, which is very consistent, right? So in other words, right here, that 27.5 to 27.4 mark, we can see that being a resistance level. That's half the reason why, if you're part of my community, you'll see that the most recent Bitcoin profit target is 27,400. It's just below that Fibonacci retracement level, because that's typically where the price action will reject out. So why not take a majority of our profits at that point? It's essentially the strategy and the thing that I typically use when I take a trade. We can see, though, the 20-day SMA on the daily working as a potential support here, so we can hopefully hold that level in place. So the likely bottom for right now is 27,000. That's always been a point of contention. Closing above 27K is important, which we did yesterday, and that's a green light. Okay, so the daily is looking a little bit better than not, but we're still below some key level resistances, right? And we take a look at the 4-hour, we can see a similar scenario here. The 200-day SMA is working its way down, right exactly, smack dab at 27,400. So the 27.4 is, again, the next key level to break through and to close above. Okay, so that's our next milestone. We can also see the RSI at 50 is tentatively holding. We've seen it kind of bouncing and gravitating towards that. So in truth, we're in good shape, but it's not fantastic. We can also see the moving averages are gravitating right towards that little point, and we're squeezing out. So there's a good chance we're going to see a big move in the fairly, relative near future. We can also see the MACD is still converging in the 4-hour as well. So nothing crazy there. So again, slightly bullish on the 4-hour, but not tremendous. Okay, like a 60-40 split on both time frames. So that gives me a little bit more, potential for longer, a longer position, right? Again, getting that confidence in the right direction. Now, Asian markets could open up tomorrow night and just have a field day. That's a very common characteristic. So it's important the price not to shoot up over the weekend, because then we'll have a CME gap. And speaking of CME gap, let's go ahead and take a quick peek at that. Forgot to mention that we did close right at the 27,300 mark. So we're currently below that, right? So in that sense, that gap could get filled where the price action might actually gravitate towards that 27.4 mark if we can't close that here out on the weekend. Again, a few little things kind of back end to kind of recognize. These are all things that kind of add up to a conclusion, for lack of better terms, a dramatic conclusion, which we could see. So on the hourly, what we want to look at is, of course, the price action going sideways. There's no overextension here, no big deal. I'm curious about the cloud. I think we're going to still be above it, which is good. Like I mentioned yesterday, kind of that natural closure above the cloud. So this does help us build that confidence, letting us know that this descending trend is come to an end, and we're now on an ascending type of trend, right? It's not massive or monumental, but it is moving upwards with the price action. That's positive. Conversion lines above the baseline, lagging span is not free. Therefore, we do not have ultimate confirmation that we want to take a long position, but we're gravitating towards that. It's moving in that direction. Okay? So again, a nice clean closure at 27.3, 27.4. The next couple of days is really all we need. And we'll have that natural inclination to establish and continue higher highs and higher lows. So all in all, we're looking pretty good here for Bitcoin, in my personal opinion. I wouldn't say it's, again, monumental by any stretch, but we do have this little bit more leniency towards bullish behavior than bearish, especially with the back-end data, all the liquidation levels, and of course the late longs and shorts kind of hedge at the same exact level. We will see a breakout one way or the other. Okay? And it'll probably come in the form of a Monday, Sunday evening, which is when the Asian markets open, and then of course Monday morning potentially when the Western markets open. So again, a lot of cool stuff coming on here, but I think at this point we're looking good here. This is pretty much right where we want to be on a weekend. I couldn't ask for much better, minus a pump, but again, those pumps are going to come with some serious repercussions. All right, so different situations. Either way, that's all we got time for here today. Thanks again for watching. I hope you learned something here today. You want to become a better trader, again, cryptocash.tech is a site. Website looks like this here, where you can just join our trading community, signals, etc. We took some healthy profits here from Ethereum. We got 2 or 3 positions open right now with some other coins, Bitcoin and Litecoin. Furthermore, as well, make sure you join the competition here for BITGET. 8 days left for a $50,000 prize pool. Really awesome stuff. All of our community members are part of that because they use my link to register. If you use this link here, be sure to check that out, and obviously make sure that you use my link so you can benefit from any future trading competitions. It's just really easy money, for lack of better terms, because you just get you get paid out for just profit and loss ratio or volume. It's really simple. All right, I hope that you learned something here today. Thanks again so much for joining me here. Hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.